What is up guys, it's your boy Solheim here, back with another Classic WoW video for you. So I've been playing a bunch of Wrath Classic recently. I'm really enjoying Phase 4, and I've said this from the start, Phase 4 is arguably one of the best phases in Wrath in my opinion. ICC is like perfectly balanced between being hard and not too hard, but like anyone can jump in, you can do some bosses, and to actually get to Lich King, you're probably gonna have to have some skill and some gear requirements to actually get there. In my opinion, it's a super fun raid, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm doing ICC on 3 separate characters for now. I only really have 2 good gear characters, but I'm trying to do at least 6-7 bosses on my druid as well. The point is, I'm really enjoying Wrath, and I have been for a while, and ever since Phase 1, like, Wrath for me has been a really fun expansion so far. That being said, we are getting close, not really close, but we're getting closer to Cataclysm Classic, and with that being said, this is something that has been talked about a lot recently, and even like since the beginning of Wrath, because back in the day when we went from Classic WoW to TBC, we got Classic Era servers, but when we went from TBC to Wrath, there was nothing called TBC Era, and this video is going to be centered around the future of Classic, and whether or not there's going to be any Wrath eras, and I'll tell you right now, they have no plans of making a Wrath era, which to me was surprising, and just to back this up with some proof right off the bat, and then we can talk more about it afterwards, I just want to show you guys the article here by Wowhead so you can check it out for yourself. It's basically a summary from an interview that happened at BlizzCon, so you might have picked up on this if you stayed for every single panel and checked out the interviews as well, or if you were there in person, but most of the people maybe missed out on these interviews, which actually gave a lot more information on both Classic WoW, regular WoW, Wrath of the Lich King Classic, Season of Discovery, all of those things. They had a bunch of questions about pretty much everything, and I do think we'll take a look at the entire interview in a separate video. But basically, the short recap here for this one is that in a group interview with Josh Greenfield and Nora Moletta, Blizzard has revealed that there are no Wrath era servers planned, but they are willing to listen to feedback. This one is important, listening to feedback, so if you want Wrath era servers, make sure you get your voices known, leave a comment on this video, go make a Reddit post, and comment on their forums. Personally, I really do want Wrath era servers, and I'll get more into that why I want that later in this video. I just want to use this as like a talking point about Wrath era servers, and personally I really want them, and once again I'll go through why. This might come as a surprise to some players who were looking forward to having a permanent Wrath server, being one of WoW's most popular expansions together with Mr. Pandaria. That being said, throughout many Classic interviews, Blizzard has made it clear over and over again that Classic is driven by the community, and that they are listening to feedback about what the community wants. So once again, I'll take a look at one more thing here, because the interview itself, we have a written recap of the interview, which is actually going through the questions in written format, so here we go. We have this one from the Warcraft wiki that we can take a look at, and for this one, there's 2 main things that I want to look at here, and that is first of all, where does Classic WoW end? So we haven't drawn a line in the sand, it's too far out to see. People keep asking for Mr. Pandaria, which makes sense. It was one of the most popular expansions like Wrath and Mists, and we are driven by the direction that players want to see. The survey that went out before Wrath Classic launched asked about Kata, and they got a lot of positive feedback, which even to me is surprising, because when Wrath came out, people were like more negative about Kata. Now that we have kind of played through Wrath, I feel like the actual the opinion there has shifted. Like a bunch of people that were negative on Kata are now being positive. Personally, I love Cataclysm. I could talk about why really quick, but like literally, I really enjoy the raids. Every single raid except Dragon Soul to me is really fun. We also have, will there be Wrath era servers? And they have no plans for right now, but once again, they are listening to feedback. So I just wanted to get those things out of the way real quick. Oh, I think my webcam was in the way for literally everything here, so if I just scroll down, you can see here, where does Classic WoW end? Right here we have the actual question, and then we have, will there be Wrath era servers? No plans for right now. So that is basically what the interview is saying. They have no plans for Wrath era servers, and personally I think that is a big mistake. They really should make Wrath era servers, and here's why. Whether or not Classic WoW should go into Kata and like expansions past Wrath has been a talking point since Classic WoW came out. A bunch of people consider Vanilla WoW, TBC and Wrath to be the OG trilogy, because that is like what's heavily based on the Warcraft universe. After killing the Lich King, like pretty much everything added past that point does have a standing in the story. Like even Pandarians are literally based on the story, but it's like killing the Lich King, for a lot of people, that's the end of that saga of WoW, if you will, like the classic WoW saga, or the classic WoW trilogy, so I feel like a bunch of people don't want to go into Kata. I will say, once again, Cataclysm is a really good expansion, if you ask me. I might be a little bit biased on that one, because I have a lot of nostalgia that is actually like tied to Kata, but personally I love the expansion. The dailies, Tolbarad is really cool, like it's Wintergrasp 2.0, but massively improved in my opinion, and Blackwing Descent and Bastion of Twilight, arguably some of the best opening raids of all time. Compare that to something like Naxxramas. Naxxramas was so easy, you could go in literally like naked, no gear, or even like green questing gear and still be fine. But Bastion of Twilight and also Blackwing Descent is like, it's kind of easy, some bosses are, but they're also fun at the same time, plus Bastion has a like hidden boss at the end that you have to like kill on heroic to get to that boss, and then you get like dragged down through the floor. There's so many cool things. Even Fireland's super cool raid, bringing back Ragnaros as well. But where am I going with this? Like literally there's a bunch of people, even though Kata is a good expansion, the story for them and like the classic WoW saga and classic WoW ends at Wrath. So I feel like, let's just say 50% wants to go to Kata and 50% wants to stay in Wrath. Even a bunch of people that want to go into Kata, they also want to have the opinion to go back and play Wrath, because Wrath of the Lich King Classic, or Wrath of the Lich King in general, was the most popular expansion of all time. Now, whether or not that was because of the timing back then, or WoW was really good back then, it can be argued, but Wrath is a really good expansion, and I think there's a really solid player base that wants to keep playing Wrath. And I think the reason why they didn't have TBC era, for example, when TBC went to Wrath, was that Classic era wasn't really popular back then. Classic era recently started taking off like about a year ago, but before that, like when the era service launched, they were absolutely dead. I have a video from when the era service came out. There were 2 people online. On Firemo, one of the most popular servers on Classic era, it was me and 1 person. When I logged on to check the population at a random day, random time, like in the middle of the evening when people usually play, there were 2 people online. Now you have like thousands. So I feel like the launch of the first era server kinda signaled to Blizzard that there was no point in having era servers, which is why they didn't have TBC servers. But now the classic era servers kind of serves as a proof of concept. It's like, even if people want to go to Kata, after playing Kata for about a year, they might have nostalgia and want to go back to Wrath. In which case, Wrath era servers might not be popular straight off the bat, but they're going to like resurge. Because once again, people want to go back, they want to do Ulduar and get their, what is it called, the Undying titles, the Herald of the Titan titles, get their Invisible mount, or yeah, Invisible mount, I said that one correctly. It's not invincible, it's invisible. We can get that mount as well on Heroic, right from doing Lich King. There's so much content in Wrath that I think people are going to miss after playing Kata for quite a while, so a bunch of people will probably aim to copy their characters, which once again, Blizzard has a monetary incentive here to actually put out Wrath era servers, because they can just squish the servers together. They don't have to open, like, how many servers do we have right now in Wrath? We can just go to Realm list right now. They don't have to open a Wrath era server for every single one here. They can have 1 for normal, 1 for PvP, and 1 for RP or something. So you can have 2 or 3 Wrath era servers instead of having all of these servers. In that case, it shouldn't really cost them too much, and once again, people are going to pay for those copies, and then they can play Wrath, and people that don't want to go to Kata, they can then make the decision to stay in Wrath for free. Literally do the same thing they did for Classic era servers, where you can either choose to take one path, you have Cataclysm, then you have Wrath. You can choose to take one path and that's free, or you can copy and take both paths and that's cost you, let's say, $20. I think one of the mistakes they made in Classic era was putting the price too high, so put it at 10 or $20, and I think a bunch of people are going to pay for that copy. Once again, Wrath of the Lich King, really good expansion, and to a bunch of people signals the end of Classic WoW, and if they have a chance to stay here instead of going to Kata, I think a lot of people will. Personally, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't add Wrath era servers. Like, if people want them, just give it to them. I personally want them to happen, just so I can pay for a copy. Once again, I do want to play Kata, but I also think that about a year into Kata, I will get nostalgic, because Cataclysm, first of all, brings you new raids and new dungeons, but not just that, they have a total revamp of the world itself. You might not miss Wrath, but if you miss Classic WoW, like doing quests in Classic WoW, sure, you have Classic Era, but what if you want to level to 80, or you want to level in that Wrath pre-patch environment? Just give people the option. I don't see any negative things about having a Wrath Era server, and once again, I think the Classic Era servers at this point kind of provides a proof of concept that even though they aren't popular right off the bat, give them a year or two. That way people can start missing that expansion and go back and play it. That's what happened to Classic Era, and a bunch of people have been asking for TBC Era servers as well, which even though TBC Era servers wouldn't be popular right off the bat, they would have been popular right about now. So it's like, just give us Era servers. The only reason I can see, like the only reasonable reason to not have Era servers to me, is that they're going to do a fresh Classic WoW launch that will stop at Wrath, and they will say that from the beginning. So they'll be like, we're launching, they're going to call it Pristine WoW, and it's going to have a finite end at Wrath. That is the only reason I can see why they wouldn't have Wrath Era right now, to make you miss Wrath, and then launch Pristine servers in, let's say, 2 years or something. That's something I could see happening down the line, but if that's not happening, please give us Wrath Era. Once again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. They are listening to feedback here, so once again, be vocal, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. And this was literally me looking at my character, yeah, just talking about Wrath Era servers. Hopefully you enjoyed, boys. Really, hopefully you enjoyed. That's it though. Thank you so much for watching as always. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you again very soon.